Hello guys, Aceface here, and back with another video for you. Today I've got my very first Batrep, and I'm playing this guy. That's right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do 1500 points of my Tyranids, new codex, fantastic, against this guy's dirty Orks with allies, Chaos Space Marines, Nurgle. So should be a lot of fun. We are playing the Relic, and yeah, it's going to be a good crack. So we'll see how we get on, and we'll see you after the armies have been deployed. See you in a bit. So 1500 points of Tyranids, led by Warlord, Flying Hive Tyrant, Twin Link Devourers, and in second HQ slot we've got another Hive Tyrant flying with Twin Link Devourers. Troops, 3 units of Gene Stealers, 1, 2, 3, and a unit of 4 warriors with Death Splitters. For elites, have a Venom Thrope, no upgrades, just on his own. And then for heavies, you have 1 unit of 2 Carnifex, straight old-fashioned Screamer Killer Carnifex with Bioplasma. Have a Trigon Prime with a few upgrades. I've given him 2 of the new Tyranid artifacts. So one, he's got the Reaper, and he also has the Misma Cannon as well. So he's 300 points on his own, so pretty large amount of points soaked up on that guy. And last in heavy support, I have the new X-Crime that you would have seen in recent videos. So that is my 1500 points of Tyranids. And here is 1500 points of Orks with Chaos Space Marine allies, Nurgle God. So let's have a look what we've got. So for HQ, got a War Boss with Power Claw and Big Shooter. Other than that, basic. Got 2 enormous units of boys. One a Slugger Boys with 2 Big Shooters, and a Knob with a Boss Pole and Power Claw. And similar again, but these are Shooter Boys. We've got a unit of 30 Shooter Boys with a Knob with Power Claw and a Boss Pole as well, and 2 Big Shooters in there. They've got, for fast attack, we've got a Dakka Jet with an additional Super Shooter on there, just for a lot of shots. And then for allied detachment, we've got a Demon Prince. This Demon Prince will be flying. He's got kind of like a jetpack looking thing on his back, looking pretty cool there. So he's got wings, and he has got the Burning Brand of Scalafrax, and is Mastery level 2. Then we have the must include Helldrake with Bellflamer, a Forge Fiend with 2 Hades autocannons and Ectoplasm cannon, and a unit of 5 normal Chaos Space Marines with a Vengeance banner and a Flamer in there, just for that compulsory troops choice. And that is 1500 points of Orks with Chaos Space Marine allies. Right, so the deployment, the Orks won the roll off and got to deploy first, go first. So they're all deployed over this side, and we are going down a long ways down the table. Also for his Warlord trait for the War Boss here, he got the Conqueror City, so it gives a nice little stealth cover save to Ruins, which makes those Shooter Boys very hard to get rid of. So they're sitting there. We've got down on this side the Forge Fiend with the Marines hiding behind that little bit there, and Demon Prince at the back looking over the battlefield with the unit of Slugger Boys all along the front, and the 2 flyers in reserve. And they're all camped up to the line, ready to run. On the Tyranid side, we've got the 2 Fexes as far forward as they can, and the warriors sitting behind, giving them synapse. We've got the 2 Hive Tyrants giving themselves a bit of cover at the beginning with the Exocrine, and just behind there you'll see the sneaky Venom Thrope. And then we've got 3 units infiltrating Stealers. Couldn't find many interesting places to put them apart from this unit here, which are camped very close to where the Relic is, sitting in the middle there. So that is that. Psychic powers, the Demon Prince has got Weapon Disease, I think it's called Weapon Virus, and he's got Smite. Didn't roll anything too decent on the Biomancy chart, which is good for me, bad for him, because an Iron on Demon Prince is never much fun. And then for my guys, I got Psychic Shriek, and not Psychic Shriek, something like that, and I got Onslaught for the Warlord, and then I've got Warp Blast and Paroxysm on the other Hive Tyrant. So still getting used to the psychic powers, so we'll see how we get on with them, and we'll go for turn 1. I'll just see whether I can steal the initiative. And on a 3, no I didn't. So turn 1 to the Orks. We'll see you at the bottom of turn 1. So at the bottom of turn 1, Orks, Chaos Space Marines. Not too much action. More or less the only things that moved were the massive, great big block of Slugger Boys that all came up as far as they could in their movement phase. Took a few pot shots at the Steelers that they could see. Took out one. And there's a couple of big shooter shots that come from the shooter boys up in the ruins there. The Demon Prince flew forward and used all his shooting. He got Smite for his psychic power, and obviously he shot that at the Carnifexes and did his Burning Brand of Scalafrax also at them, but hit the warriors behind, and didn't do a lot with that at all. Over here, the Forge Fiend took some shots at the warriors and killed one straight away, instant killed one, and that was more or less it. So the Steelers are still sitting there hiding, and it'll be over to me turn 1. So I'll see you at the bottom of turn 1, Tyranids. So bottom of Tyranids turn 1, quite a successful turn for Tyranids. The 2 Flying Hive Tyrants came flying forward. The Carnifexes came forward as far as they could. The Steelers just stood behind the cover that they had, because there was no point in them doing much. The Demon Prince that was about there is no longer there anymore, because eventually he failed a grounding test from the Tyrants, dropped to the floor, made most of his other saves, but then the Steelers and the Carnifexes assaulted him. He did his best, but fluffed his combat on the Steelers, failing to get first blood, and then the rest was pretty much over quite quickly. So that was first blood for the Tyranids. They consolidated as close to the boys as they possibly could, and now we've got a line of big Gribblies in the middle of the table, and we'll see whether we can last out to Ork mass shooting. So we'll see you at the bottom of turn 2, Orks. Right, bottom of Orks turn 2. Quite a good turn for the Orks. They shot at the Hive Tyrant with pretty much everything and grounded him and took him down to just 1 wound, but he just hung on in there with 1 wound left, which is handy because that is my Warlord. The big unit of boys, after the loss of the Demon Prince, all assaulted the Carnifexes that were sitting just here, and after mass plundering of those Ork boys, they just about killed all of the Carnifex wounds and won combat and consolidated just 1 inch, so just separated themselves off a little bit. Over here, obviously the Helldrake came in. He flamed the Gene Stealers that were hiding behind that wall, as well as vector striking the Carnifexes as he went across, making work a little bit easier for the Orks afterwards. And more or less that was the turn. So still kind of all in the balance. The Orks have hit back a little bit, but still a lot of Tyranids left, and currently the Orks are sitting on the relic, which is just there. See you at the bottom of Tyranids turn 2. So bottom of Tyranid turn 2, quite a successful turn for Tyranids. Managed to get rid of the Helldrake, which is very good because that gives me a little bit of breathing space. So what happened was the Warlord Hive Tyrant that was down here, he flew off the board, but vector struck the Forge Fiend as he went. The other Hive Tyrant flew over the boys and then shot the Helldrake. in the rear, and just managed to glance into death. Didn't make any of his saves, which is unfortunate for him, but that meant that the Helldrake went down. The Exocrine hiding over here keeps fluffing on his onslaught rolls, but rolled a 1 and just managed to get in range of the big unit of boys. So I put his large blast on there, which didn't scatter, killed 5 of them, which weeded them down a little bit, and the warriors took some pot shots as well onto them, which weeded down a few, but then he made all his saves, so they were a bit useless. But apart from that, the Tyranids are still pretty much consolidating back here. Not really too sure what to do about this huge unit of boys as it slowly deplenishes down. And the Orks are waiting to see whether the Dakka Jet comes in, and they're still sitting cosy to that relic, with the shooter boys still safe as houses up in their ruins, and the Forge Fiend with Space Marines still cowering behind that wall. So we'll see what happens in Orks turn 3. So bottom of turn 3 Orks. The Orks are making an aggressive run at the Tyranid line. They've dropped the relic in the middle and have marched up here after taking out the last of the small unit of Stealers, and they've surrounded the warriors to try and avoid being blasted by the Exocrine hiding here. The Forge Fiend had a go at trying to take out this unit of Stealers. Due to cover, one lonely remaining Stealer hangs on there, the rest of the unit is gone, and the shooter boys had a go at trying to take out the Hive Tyrant that's still on the board. A few hits, a few wounds, but the Hive Tyrant passed all his saves and passed his grounding test. So all in all, quite a close turn. The Orks are very much on the offensive. The wire was called, and those boys are looking quite threatening on the Tyranid line, but all to play for as we go into Tyranids turn 3. So bottom of Tyranid turn 3, and no more Ork slugger boys over there. So what happened was the other Hive Tyrant, the Warlord Hive Tyrant, came back from ongoing reserves, and this Hive Tyrant came out of flying mode, so he's now on the ground. The warriors shuffled around a bit where they could, and the Exocrine stayed exactly as he was. The Trigon Prime eventually came in and burrowed up here behind the shooter boys and the Chaos Space Marines over here. He shot everything he had at the War Boss and his shooter boys here. The War Boss was the closest unit, so he managed to pass his lookout sirs onto the close boys, so took a few of them out, but didn't do too much. But he's now waiting because he can assault next turn. And the rest of the Tyranid army put all their shooting, all their twin link devourers, everything into the Ork slugger boys, and they died a horrible death. So as we stand at the moment, the relic sits there on its own, nobody contesting it, nobody taking it. The shooter boys and the Tyranid army are in a bit of a standoff. The Dakka Jet will definitely come in this turn, and we go into Orks turn 4. So bottom of Orks turn 4, the Dakka Jet came in, and the Ork shooter boys consolidated up into their ruins to try and get as best possible cover from the impending doom of the Trigon Prime. The Forge Fiend shuffled around, also trying to make some distance between himself and the Forge Fiend, and the Chaos Space Marines moved further forward. The Dakka Jet unloaded on the warriors and just managed to kill all but one, and with combined help from the Forge Fiend. But thankfully, due to the cover save provided from the Venomthrope, we just managed to hang in with one warrior still on 4 wounds. The shooter boys unloaded on the Hive Tyrant, doing absolutely nothing, even though he's on the floor. And that brings us to the end of Orks turn 4. So we go into Tyranid turn 4. So bottom of Tyranid turn 4, the Hive Tyrants amassed on the Forge Fiend, trying to take him out. Didn't really do that much, but did, through both of them unloading, managed to take him down to 1 whole point left. But he's still fine. And then the big old Trigon Prime charged in on the boys in the ruins, and managed to take only 4 out. They attacked back and took a wound off him. They're locked in combat now and potentially will be for the rest of the game. The warrior over here kind of grabbed a bit of cover with the Venomthrope, hiding behind a little bit of ruins there, and the Haruspex moved around, eventually doing quite well on his onslaught roll, got within range of the Dakajet, and no Dakajet. So that is the end of Tyranid turn 4. We go into Orks turn 5, potentially the final turn of the game. Right, end of Orks turn 5. So on this turn, the Chaos Space Marines in the middle there moved up on the relic and are now holding it. The Forge Fiend turned and shot at the last remaining warrior, who made all his cover saves because being behind ruins and having the Venomthrope kept him alive. Again, another reason why I always take a Venomthrope. And the Trigon Prime continued to hack through the boys, killing another few, and this time losing a few wounds in the process. He is down to 3 wounds, and the Knob and Warboss are still just about hanging on in there in that unit. So we go into Tyranid turn 5, potentially the last player turn of the game. Can I take the Chaos Space Marines off that objective? We'll see. Right, Tyranid turn 5, end of turn 5. So what's happened? The Flying Hive Tyrant Warlord with his Twin Link Devourers took out the Forge Fiend that was there. The Exocrine over here stumbled forward, put his large blast on the Chaos Space Marines that took out most of them. The other Hive Tyrant jumped over there and assaulted the Chaos Space Marines, took out the last few of them, and is sitting on the relic even though he can't hold it. The boys in the terrain here continue to fight on with the Trigon. They knocked a few wounds off him. He's down to 2 wounds, but he is slowly but surely clearing up there. And the warrior just stumbles forward, not quite managing to get to the objective. So that's the end of Tyranid turn 5. Alright fella, let's see if we roll, see if the game goes on. So does it go to turn 6? The game continues, turn 6. So, bottom of Orks turn 6, and there is no Trigon there anymore. The Warboss stepped up, took the challenge, and took him out. So that is a moral victory for the Orks, but they didn't consolidate very far, and they're still sitting there. And we go into Tyranid turn 6. Right, bottom of Tyranid turn 6, and what happened? Well, not a lot really. The Hive Tyrants both flew over the building here, and the Exocrine carried on moving up. The warrior, lone warrior that's been alive a long time now, is now holding the relic. The Hive Tyrants unloaded into the Ork boys. They did very, very well on their cover saves, and the Warboss stays with one of his lonely boys left, sitting in their ruins. And that is the end of turn 6. Do you want to see whether the game continues? And the game continues. We roll on to Orks turn 7. Bottom of Tyranid turn 7. We did both turns because after the Ork turn it wasn't really worth us doing a separate little clip for it. So what happened in the Orks turn first of all was the remaining Orks, the war boss and the last boy, turned round, shot everything they had at the final warrior who's refusing to die. He lost 2 of his wounds but just managed to survive out on 1 wound left, sitting on the relic. So due to that I didn't need to do anything on my turn. After the hard work the boys put in, I left the war boss and boy to sit in their ruins and allowed the game to finish. So that's the end of the game. Thanks very much for the game, whoever you are. If anybody thinks they know who this guy is, please put names in the comments below. God knows who he is. Anyway, thanks very much, sir. Epic handshake. And thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the first Ace Face Batrep. More to come, hopefully. Comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.